Hello, my name is Linda Langerheide and welcome to my channel. Today I want to give you some ideas about the whys, whens and hows of using a metronome. It's a good idea to begin metronome work with students rather early in a very easy way so they don't develop an aversion to it when you spring it on them in the middle of a difficult piece. Just have the kids move sideways to the beat or play one note every time he hears a beat. It helps if the metronome is loud enough, and it also has some visual aid such as a light that blips whenever there's a beat. In lessons, I like to use these earphones so that the kids can hear the beat while they're playing their piece. A metronome gives you instant feedback if you get off track. It produces an even beat. Knowing how to incorporate a metronome into your practice effectively will help you improve your rhythmic and technical skills fast and efficiently. Consider 4/4 time with a tempo marking of a quarter note equals 60 beats per minute. There are 60 quarter notes per minute and 4 quarter notes per measure. You subdivide other rhythms within this beat. Another reason for practicing with a metronome is that it gives you precise feedback on where you stand with what you are practicing, as well as your rate of improvement. You either can or cannot play that song exercise scale at a designated speed, pure and simple. This is significant from the standpoint of both using your practice time resourcefully and motivation. Knowing the speed at which you are no longer able to correctly play something helps you instantly lock in on what needs to be worked on. And experiencing that speed gradually go up gives you evidence that your work is constructive, which then motivates you to keep practicing. You are able to click track when recording. If and when you get to the point where you are trying to make a good recording of something, playing a click track can help the progress along. A click track is basically just a metronome that you hear through a set of headphones while you record. It's common practice for musicians to listen to a click track when recording in a studio to guarantee that multiple takes of a song are played at an identical tempo. This makes editing easier since you could possibly cut and paste parts of different takes together and make them sound seamless. It also ensures that the band doesn't rush or drag the tempo and the song is played at exactly the intended speed. How do I learn to keep a beat? At the beginning, it is important to be able to hear the metronome while playing. Many students lose track of the beat because they are playing louder than the metronome. Have students use headphones to hear the beat better. If you are using an app, just plug it into the phone or tablet. When I start kids on metronome work, they first learn to move from side to side with the clicks. They reach their farthest point when the click sounds. Clapping, tapping, or singing your note names along with the metronome can help you coordinate the timing of your hands to help everything fall into place when you return to your instrument. I use the Kodai rhythmic syllables with my students and always have them speak the rhythms of a new piece before playing. This is a good time to use the metronome because there's no playing going on. A ta is a quarter, to-wa or ta-a is a half, etc. Later, we speak the rhythms while playing with a metronome beat in the background. Now that's complicated. Record yourself. Record yourself playing or singing with the metronome. Listen to the recording. Tap, clap, speak the rhythms while rocking from side to side with the recording. Listen if you stayed with the metronome. The metronome can help you practice staying in consistent time, but ultimately you want to be able to stay reliably in time without a metronome as well. The problem of dragging or rushing the tempo could arise when you go back to playing without the metronome, and relying solely on your own sense of timing. The way to address this problem is to have the metronome give you less guidance. Instead of having it click once per beat, set it really slow so that it clicks once per measure. The metronome apps have a distinct advantage because you can set them on very slow beats. Using fewer beats will force you to rely more on your own sense of timing and tempo, with the metronome giving you just enough feedback to know if you're speeding up or slowing down. What else can we use a metronome for? A metronome can help us slow down difficult passages while keeping the pace consistent. This approach enables us to work through challenging passages at a very slow tempo without making any mistakes, gradually increasing the speed as we become more familiar with it. We can increase the speed bit by bit, yet avoid imprinting the tension we might learn if our abilities are not yet up to the demands of the piece. Subdivide difficult rhythms. If you're having trouble staying on the beat due to complicated rhythms, you can always subdivide the beat to a smaller unit. For example, if you are having trouble lining up quarter notes to 60 beats per minute, you could set your metronome to 120 beats per minute and use an eighth note pulse. One effective practice technique is to isolate a challenging passage from your repertoire and identify the shortest note value, 8th, 16th, 32nd, in the passage. Once you have identified the shortest note value, set your metronome to 60 beats per minute and practice through the passage with the shortest note value equal to 60 beats per minute. If you are even slightly uncertain about notes in a passage you are trying to speed up, you might not actually play a wrong note, yet your brain still needs more time to figure it out. If you attempt to play over a certain speed, your brain stumbles because thinking time is more limited. Until the knowledge of the notes is solid, don't even try to play fast. Since you might not be aware that some notes are unclear, run through the passage in your head with your eyes closed. Can you visualize the notes? Can you feel your fingers pressing into the correct key, string, or the like? Speed the passage up in your mind. Does it still go smoothly? You may also have a fingering that works at a slow tempo but proves to be unplayable at a fast speed. When you are developing the fingerings, run through a variety of different speeds to observe how they work as the tempo increases. When we play slowly, we have time to control each note. When we play fast, our brain doesn't jump from note to note. It needs to jump from group to group. Set up groups of notes with a designated anchor note as the beginning of each group. This could be the first note at the beginning of each group of 8, for example. Use dotted rhythms to help improve your timing. Practicing difficult passages using dotted rhythms is an incredibly effective way to work out any rhythmic inconsistencies and isolate technical difficulties. Dotted rhythms such as a dotted 8th followed by a 16th note or a dotted 16th followed by a 32nd note allow us to alternate playing long and short notes, giving us more time to anticipate our next note in difficult passages. This technique works particularly well for long scale passages and arpeggios which have small note values. First, you will need to isolate a difficult passage and again identify the shortest note value in the passage, 8th, 16th, etc. Choosing a passage with many notes of the same value works best with this technique. Once you have identified the shortest note value, set your metronome to 72 beats per minute. Now begin by playing through the passage. However, you will alternate between giving notes 3 beats and 1 beat. For example, the first note of the passage will receive 3 beats, while the second note will receive 1 beat. The third note of the passage will receive 3 beats, while the fourth will receive 1 beat. Long, short, long, short, long. Then change up the dotted rhythm using short, long. Short, long, short, long, short, long. The difference here is that every note that received 3 beats before will now receive only 1 beat, and every note that previously received 1 beat will now receive 3 beats. Short, long, short, long. After you can play through the passage without any mistakes and without any unwanted tension in your body, increase the metronome speed by a click or 2 and repeat the process. These techniques may sound challenging, but by practicing through them slowly and incorporating them into your daily routine, you will find yourself improving impressively. Practicing a difficult passage for 10 minutes with a metronome is better than practicing it for 1 hour with sloppy rhythm. I hope you've enjoyed these tips and that you can use them in your next practice session.